Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Mrs. Tal here with you again today. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining the family. And yeah, welcome back everyone. Today I want to talk about good debt versus bad debt. I also want to give you a few examples. So let's get started. What is good debt? There are two main criteria that are quite simple that you can use to determine if a loan you're about to take, for example, is good or bad debt. So in terms of good debt, there are two criteria, as I mentioned. It's, does this debt result in you spending money in an asset that will increase in value over time? Or does this debt result in you having income, generating current income or future income? So it's those two. Does it result in an increase of value in an asset, or does it result in current income or future incomes? I'll give you some examples. For instance, number one, property. A house is definitely good debt. This is because we know definitely that a house appreciates in value. So the value will always grow no matter what over time. So that's criteria number one. Or the second criteria, does it generate income for you? If the house is not your main house that you share with your family and maybe you're renting it out, you can actually take criteria number two as well and say, okay, in addition to the fact that it's gonna grow in value, I know that it's also gonna result in rental income for me. So it is good debt. Another example of good debt is number two, a student loan. So a student loan that maybe as a parent you go get at the bank for funding your child's varsity school fees. Definitely there's no increase in value because there's no asset that's tangible that they will have that will increase in value. But you do know that because of this debt that you're taking today, you're gonna go and pay school fees and your child will end up getting a degree, and that degree will result in your child getting a salary in future. A third example of a good debt is a car loan. In what instances is a car loan good debt? Because with a car loan, it can also be bad debt. So how is a car loan good debt? So firstly, we know that a car depreciates in value. So the moment you drive it out of that garage after buying it, you know it's gonna lose value. So the first criteria definitely will not work. You're definitely not going to get an increase in the value of the asset, right? However, when we use the second criteria, which says it will result in current or future income, a car can definitely be good debt. This is in cases whereby, let's say for instance, you have an Uber business or a Taxify business, and you know that by getting this loan and buying this car, you'll be able to generate money from that business daily. Or in an instance whereby you get offered a job, but that job contract specifically says you have to have a car, you have to have your own transportation. So in that case, you know that if I do not have a car, I might not get the job. So there's a direct link between the income, which will be the salary that you want to get, and you buying the car. So in that instance, it's definitely good debt. Something that's very important to note about good debt is that it usually has lower interest rates. I say it has lower interest rates because it has specific interest rates that are tailored for the product. Think about the house loan. There are bond rates that have certain scales. Think about a car loan. It also has specific car financing, similar to student loans. They also have specific student loans financing at the bank that is tailor-made for these products. And as a result, the interests that are charged are not too high. They might be high depending on your credit score, but they are all within a certain range. Because the bank knows that it's either there's an underlying asset that they can use to recover the debt, a house or a car, or the risk of you defaulting is very, very low. If it's a student loan, the risk of you not paying that student loan is very low because you do want your child to complete varsity. So in terms of the risk that the bank takes, they know that it's quite low, so the interest that they'll charge you on good debt is not that high. So just to recap, good debt are loans that are either gonna generate you future income or current income, or you're gonna use that loan to buy an asset that will grow in value, either or. So then let's move to bad debt. What is bad debt? Bad debt is really the opposite of that. So the criteria that we'll use for bad debt is also two. It is an expenditure using a loan that you know will not result in you buying an asset that will grow in value, or you know that there will be no current or future income that you generate. So there is no future or current income, and the asset that you're buying will not grow in value at all. And again, I'll give you some examples just to bring light to this. I'll give you 4 examples, and these examples are actually also the types of debt that you should avoid. These are the types of debt that you should avoid at all costs. So we don't want to have these debts in our lives. If you have it right now, you want to try and decrease it so that soon you have none of it. Another way to identify these bad debts is the fact that they have very high interests. So in South Africa, these types of debts usually have an interest rate of 20% and above. So that's very, very high. If you compare it with the rates that you usually get for car financing, for student loans, and for your bond, that's a huge, huge difference. So the reason for this high interest rate is because there's no asset that's underlining, or if there's an asset, it doesn't grow in value at all. So the risk for the bank is quite high. So because the bank is taking a high risk, you must pay for that risk through interest, right? So example number 1, a credit card. A credit card is a bad debt. Specifically, a rolling facility credit card. A rolling facility credit card are the credit cards that, let me say, I get an amount open, let's use 20,000 of credit every month. I use the 20,000 of credit. Next month, when I get my salary, let's just say I also earn 20,000. Next month, when I get my salary, the credit rolls over from month to month. So next month, when I get my salary, the credit card will deduct the 20,000, right, that I owe at the end of that month from my salary, meaning that my salary will now have a balance of 0. At the same time, after deducting that amount, it will open up the same amount, which is 20,000 Rand. So from month to month, it rolls over, it deducts the amount, and then it opens it up. So besides the fact that these facilities have very high interest rates, I hope you can see that this is actually a debt trap, because you're never actually gonna pay this credit card off unless you're very, very intentional about it and you plan it wisely. But most of the people fall into the trap of paying the credit card with their salary and then waiting for the credit facility to open up, and then they use that credit facility to spend during the month. So in essence, you're not spending your salary, you're spending your credit. In essence, you don't get a salary at the end of the month. What you get is equal to the expense of the credit card, which is your debt. So your money that you work for just keeps on financing this debt month in, month out. So that's a very dangerous debt. You don't want that type of debt. If you have a credit card, or if there's an emergency that needs you to have a credit card, make sure it's not a revolving one or one that rolls forward each and every month. Make sure that it's one that will have debit orders into your normal savings or check or debit account. That way you know that every month the balance goes down. But the one that is linked to your main account that will keep on rolling forward, they sometimes call it the revolving facility, that you want to avoid. The second type of bad debt that you find is credit spent on food. You do not want to find yourself buying food through credit. It is not worth it. It is not worth having to be charged 20% or more just for you to get a burger or something that's quite not of value at all, and that will not add to your life. And honestly guys, people have credit cards for all these food stores. It's not even that they're hungry or they're gonna go hungry and starve the whole month if they don't have those credit cards. It's just maintaining a certain lifestyle. You just want to eat certain food. It's really not worth it. You can't be having fancy food every night through credit and you're paying 20% on it. 20% is even a minimum. It's an example. So just think about it. Is it worth it for you to have that meal for the expense that you're paying? Third type of bad debt is spending credit on furniture. Guys, this is also a serious one. It's very serious because in the past, this was something that was very, very normal. Let's be honest. We grew up with our parents buying furniture in the house through store cards. They'll buy a fridge and paid over 3 years. They'll buy a bed and paid over 3 years. And that was the norm. But if you really think about it, by the time, let's use the fridge as an example, by the time you finish paying off that fridge in 3 years time, it's either giving you problems already or it's really not trending anymore, and there's a new type of fridge and metallic or something else that's trending that you actually want to buy. So the value of the assets that you get, which is furniture, really is so low that it's not worth you paying over such a long period of time. You can't be buying a washing machine and paying it over 3 years. Honestly, if you want to buy furniture and you don't have it, save for it and go and buy it cash. If you can't buy it cash, then don't buy it. The time you finish paying it, it's worth less. It's not even worth the initial value that the price was, not even taking into account the interest that you've paid on top of the price. And lastly, an example of bad debt, this is the fourth one, is spending credit on clothes. This one really gets a lot of people, hey? You'll be surprised that the people with clothing accounts, balances that are like 15,000. You ask yourself, how did you buy clothes worth of 15,000 with money that you do not have? How do you even get to 15,000 buying clothes? Something that will wear off in the next few months. Something that will probably not even fit you, or you even forget that you have it in your closet in the next few months. How do you spend so much money on clothes? What is important for us, guys, is to learn to do with what we have. Learn to be okay with the things that you can afford. Learn to survive and make it through with the stuff that you have around you. This culture of us always buying and just feeling good, swiping that card, but at the end of each and every month, when those debit orders go off, we are alone and we are depressed. So lastly, guys, please use the manage and avoid rule for debt management. Manage and avoid. So manage is for you to manage the good debt. Avoid is for you to avoid the bad debt. Why do I say manage the good debt? I say manage the good debt because just because a car loan or a bond or the student loan examples that I gave are good debt examples, it doesn't mean now go and max your facilities on these and just get approvals and go with whatever approval amount that you get from the bank. you need to make sure that you manage these amounts to be reasonable compared to your income, and make sure that at the end of the month, after paying all of these amounts, even though they are good debt, you still have good income for you to continue to save and invest to grow your money. You don't want to pay a bond in a car and then afterwards you have nothing left for you to spend. So important, manage the good debt. Avoid, guys, please, rolling credit card or rolling facility, cards on food, clothes, all of the bad debts examples that I gave. These are to be avoided completely. You don't want to spend anything on these. If you already have this type of accounts that are bad debt, guys, please come up with a plan to minimize these amounts. Minimize or get rid of it. So for the next few months, tell yourself, this is my plan, this is how I'm going to pay this off. Importantly, once you pay off these accounts that are bad debts, it's important for you to make the phone call to the retailer and say, please, or bank, please close off this account for me. The reason that is important is that I might pay off an account till my balance is nil and stop using it. But because I still have an active account with them, I haven't closed the account. Each and every month I'm charged a fee for management, account management fee. So yeah, guys, let's continue managing our good debts and avoiding our bad debts, so that at the end of the day we have more money in our hands to create wealth for ourselves, our families, and the future generation. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. I tried to keep it as short as possible. I hope you gained something. Please share your knowledge below on how you manage and avoid debt, or any questions that you have. Let's just interact. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. I love you so much, guys. Goodbye. Mwah.